Hey everybody, this is Jo and I'm here in my Houston, Texas garden. I'm here in zone 9A and I've got a cottage butterfly garden going on here, and I thought I would give you a walk through the shady part. So in the spring, all of these gigantic crepe myrtles all leaf out and give me very deep shade all back in here. And so I'm gonna give you a walk. Say hello, Miss Doubtfire. Hello. She's gonna be my little helper. So the best way for me to get back in here, you know, we all build ourselves little trails in our garden where we know we won't step on any seedlings. So I'm gonna climb my way back and show you what does well for me here in Houston in the shade. Oh, here we go. There. So I've got a little runway all along so that I can reach things back here. So one of the things, really, the shade already starts here, but I get enough light back here. These are old blush roses and they really can take some shade. This one blooms back here just fine. There's one here and one there. That one gets way more sun, and this one doesn't bloom any less. And you can see this enormous crocosmia, which is just putting on some bloom stalks. And so clearly that's got enough sun now. It may need more sun to flower more heavily. But I'm getting a little bit. And this dwarf Barbados cherry, that's a Texas native, and it is blooming in here, and just a little bit of sun. This is a Duranta that I bought last year. I've never grown one before. It's not blooming, and it sure is stretching toward the sun, so I'm not sure that needs to be on the list. Now, here are the things that do really well. This is inland sea oats. It's a real, it looks like a bamboo, really. It's a Texas native grass that grows. It's a clumping grass that grows in really almost full shade. It has beautiful little seed heads on it all through the winter. It seeds pretty freely, but wasn't hard to sort of pinch out, pull out anything, after a rain. If I had too many, I could very easily pull them out. But it does reseed a little bit. And it's a butterfly host, and I just love it. Now I've got a Cape Plumbago. You can see that it is blooming a little bit, but mostly, sorry, helicopter. Mostly, it does not bloom. Maybe on the edges where the sun is, but mostly it's just sort of shrubby here. And then you can see, now I've put, these are Foxgloves that I buy in the fall at the garden center and put them in the ground. They overwinter in the ground here and bloom. If I put those out in the big sunny bed, they really don't do well. They'll wilt all day long. Anytime the sun hits them, they'll wilt. So my recommendation for Houston is, if you're going to try to grow foxgloves, put them in the shade and expect them to not make it through the summer. One of the things that's right here, it's not quite blooming yet. This is a little salvia. It's called Salvia uliginosa. Oh goodness, there's a lot of helicopters today. Sorry everybody. They did not get the message from me that I was trying to make a video. Okay, sorry. So this is a Salvia uliginosa. It has little blue flowers and it grows really well in the shade. Now I had a milkweed in the sun over here last year, and it died, but it seeds. It was a balloon milkweed, and it seeded everywhere. And so I've got a lot of milkweed. I assume that's what this is. It's really, really like that whole patch. So that's all milkweed. Well, it probably won't bloom here in the shade, but I have plenty of nectar plants, as you can see, for butterflies, for monarchs here. But if they need milkweed, they just need the leaves. And so I'm perfectly fine with it just being green there, even if it never blooms. Now I do have right here, that little white flower is a different milkweed. This is called aquatic milkweed, and it gets quite a bit of shade back here, and it blooms really nicely. It's a really beautiful pale pink flower, really almost white. It seems to be fine here. Now this does get sun before the trees leaf out, so I still get amaryllis blooming before it leaves out. You know, it kind of gets enough sun. This giant thing is a lily. It's a crinum lily. Sometimes it blooms, sometimes it doesn't. I've got another one right in the middle in the full sun, and it hasn't bloomed a lot better than this one. So I kind of think it's, you know, does all right in the shade. Now this is one of the big heavyweights of the shade over here, and this is shrimp plant. And I've got it in a couple of different colors. And so it'll look good all the way through until the fall, all the way through till next winter. It will bloom. This is a Turkscap. This little one is sort of coral colored. I think I've got, oh, here's one right here. This is a really pretty coral right there. And this takes deep shade. It's a Texas native. It does great. I don't know if the coral, it may be a cultivar. The thing that's cracking me up back here, I used my own compost back here at some point, and I have a volunteer tomato. This is complete shade, you guys, and yet here I've got tomatoes. Isn't that ridiculous? So you never know. Give it a shot. This is a Walter's viburnum, which bloomed when there were no leaves on the trees. It's just a really nice native Texas shrub. And so it grows nicely out here, but I don't know how well, if it's gonna bloom anymore. I've got lots of fern. I've got a coral berry down here. That is a native Texas plant that is so beautiful, and it will have coral flowers and coral colored berries on it. This vine is Rangoon creeper. It dies to the ground every year and comes back. I don't really have enough sun for it to bloom. We've trimmed out some tree branches here, and I've planted this wax myrtle here. I'm hoping it's going to get enough sun at the top. I'm going to trim out the bottom, sort of limit up into a tree, a multi-trunk tree, but it'll get enough sun. I'm hoping maybe this will get enough sun to bloom at least that direction. Our neighbor will get to look at it. But it's really beautiful and is green and looks great all year. I've got a little coleus back here, and I haven't really grown one in the ground before, and so I thought this would give me a pop. If it can get big enough, it would give me a pop of hot pink, and I've got some hot pink there. That is a 4 o'clock. I've got tons of fern. Now these are irises that bloomed a little bit, but they really don't bloom that well, but they are a nice garden structure in the shade, and they have a little bit of a gray-green look to them, and so there's a nice contrast between the colors. Even like here, this is sort of bluish, that's kind of grayish, then you've got the bright green there, and so it's a nice little color combo, even though it's just various shades of green. Here's another shrimp plant that is sort of a chartreuse yellow with the little white flowers. And then back here, I have got a mock orange that has bloomed back here. It's very new, and so I don't know how it will do over time, but it's definitely bloomed back there. But it's bloomed when it was sunny back here because there were no leaves on the trees yet. Here is a Turkscap, Now this is definitely the real, the red, sort of an orangey red, and it is much bigger. The coral colored ones are seem to be a little daintier. They don't get quite as gigantic as this does. Now I've got a little, oh gosh, what's that called? I'll think of it in a minute. I've got some ginger, it's very sad. I've got another coral berry here. And then, oh, that's fire spike. That's what that is. And there's a little bit of fire spike here. It takes the shade really well. Now, I'm afraid this quality of this video is not going to be great because it's a little bit too shady out here. Well, here is a third variety of shrimp plant that's got a more hot pink with that greenish chartreuse. So what is that, a bract, and that's the flower. And so those are super pretty. And they seem to be, they've been slow to get started, and I think they are maybe going to be smaller than the other ones. Let's see, what else have we got in here? We've got an oak leaf hydrangea, and it's pretty new. I'm hoping that it's gotten big really quickly, and I'm hoping that will end up being a really, really big plant, and have some pretty flowers in the spring for us. And then here are the 4 o'clocks. They have reseeded every year. This is actually just the second year, but they reseeded themselves. All of this, you know, I planted plants last year and they just did this themselves. Now here, let me climb back out of here. I've got a really nice native fern back there, and more just beautiful iris leaves. That foliage just makes me happy. I'm fine with it not blooming. I'd love it if it bloomed more. And I got some flowers out of it, but not a lot. And then begonias are doing really well for me. They don't take sun, even the ones that say, oh, this can take some sun. No. Lies, all lies. I've got some little diamond frost euphorbia blooming back here, and some little violets. And this is a gosh, what kind is that called? It'll come to me. Anyway, I have 2 kinds of violets. I have this one and then this one, and I have them, they haven't spread. I think they look great, just as a nice foliage plant, a nice shape, and they're a native, they are a host plant for a butterfly. Now I've got some obedient plant that will bloom in the fall. That's native to Texas. And this is a American beautyberry, which is native to Texas, and I think a lot of the South, and will have wonderful little berries for birds to eat. Let's see. Oh, I've got a caladium. My caladiums really didn't come back. I thought I saw one in here. There's my last little caladium. It didn't really last very long. If I dug them up, maybe they would have done better. But you can grow caladiums really well here in the shade in Houston. Now, I've got a different kind of fern here. I don't know, that was given to me by my sister, and I don't know the name of it, the variety, but it does really well. It does well in sun for her and shade. There's more beautyberry here, and then way back here, right back there, let's see if I can zoom in. That is a pipe vine. It is not very happy. This camera is not happy with me in the shade. Let me get, well, I'll show you some in a pot in a minute. But a little pipe vine back there for swallowtail butterflies. This is a pale yellow Texas columbine that does really well in the shade for me. Here is the other oak leaf hydrangea, doing really nicely. And more 4 o'clocks and fern. and euphorbia. This is walking iris. I have a little short. None of them are blooming right now, and they don't bloom for very long. So if you want to see this beautiful walking iris, I think I have a little short on them that I just put up. And then here is more pipe vine, which if it doesn't bloom, that's fine. A lot of things, you know, won't bloom if they don't get enough sun. They'll live, but they won't bloom. And I'm okay with this not blooming. I really am growing it for the leaves. And then here's that other pipe vine that I got in the ground. And bonus, let's see if I can find him. Pipe vine swallowtail caterpillar eggs right there, little red dots. So that's so fun. Well, thanks for going on a little walk with me. Let's see if I've forgotten anything as I go by. We can have one more picture of Mrs. Doubtfire. Oh, these little freesias have been fine. I think that's a freesia. And they have been fine in the shade. But again, you know, they got tons of sun until the crepe myrtles leafed out in the last couple of weeks. So they've gotten a head start. And then here's a confused little fall aster blooming away here. And then this is some more obedient plant in here. And that'll bloom, and that takes lots of shade, lots of shade. Thank you guys for looking. I hope your shady parts of your Texas gardens are looking good. And of course, the sunny part looks so good. I'm gonna show it to you before I go. Bye-bye, y'all.